Welcome to Miss G's Ladies Lounge, the space for real conversations, quiet clarity, and intentional movement. Here we don't rush, we don't pretend, and we don't perform. We pause, reflect, and choose alignment on purpose. In this season, we're looking for the woman who's done waiting for the right time and ready to move with wisdom, confidence, and peace. So grab your favorite seat in the lounge, take a deep breath, and let's talk about what it really means to live aligned and move with intention as we grow. I'm Miss G, and you're in Miss G's Ladies Lounge. Well, welcome, everyone. Good evening. Happy Monday. It's another Monday. We're here in Miss G's Ladies Lounge. As we say, Monday. We're back to our Mondays and we're excited about that. Monday is a great day. It is the start to our week and it's the time for us to take our thoughts and our plans and to put them all together as we move throughout the week so that we are being productive and we are succeeding at what our vision has called us to do. Listen, today I want to welcome you to Miss G's Ladies Lounge. We are here in a place where we love to share information. We love to share the subject that we're talking on today. We love to just encourage and inspire those who are working, as they say, grinding and looking to do more and to move to the next space. But we're not trying to move too quickly. There is a pattern for growth. There is a pattern for development. There is a pattern for success. And so, what we are learning in this process is that we can't go ahead of the pattern. When we go ahead of the pattern, we find ourselves backtracking a whole lot. We find ourselves lagging and having to repeat cycles. So, what we've been talking about lately is how to manage our growth, how to stay in the proper cycle of growth. Okay, so over the last few weeks, if you've been following with me, you may have heard us talking about the growth cycle. And so tonight, we're not going to take from that. We have finished the three-episode series and we did our little recap on last week. But this week, we're going to enter the discussion topic of from distractions, delays, destroyers to destiny. And over those few weeks, as we walked through that series, the growth cycle, we learned a lot of things that happens throughout the growth cycle. We even brought everything together on last week so that we could, share the things that really matter as you continue to grow. But today we're going to take just a slightly different direction. We're still on the path of growth. But this week, we're talking about what actually hinders growth. Because it's important to know some of the things that we may encounter. And sometimes we're not really looking, we are not focused on those things that hinder us. We're just thinking that everything is great. As they say, everything is honky dory. But we're not really actually cognizant of the fact that some of the things that we encounter actually hinder our growth. So, tonight we're going to talk about that. We are going to speak about from distractions, delays, and destroyers to destiny. And I want to thank you for joining me on tonight. If you are in the lounge, feel free to put something in the chat. Let me know that you're here. Just say, hey, 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 don't come to our house and don't speak to us. Come on in. Come on in the lounge and share with us. We like to have an interactive audience. We like to have you talk back. As they say in church, we like a talk back audience. So feel free to participate with me on tonight. All right. So as we said over the last few weeks, we have walked through this series, but tonight we are moving to the next phase. Um, Growth is inevitable if you are actually doing what it takes to grow. You can be moving and not actually growing. So it's important that you are doing those things that are necessary and that you are monitoring the activities of what you are doing. Again, welcome to MsG's Ladies Lounge. We are here, um, ready to just dive right into it. As we talked about, this is the year of growth and development. We're moving from that hindrance to destiny. So let me just I want to just play a little game with you. All right. I want to play a little game with you on today. And my game is called Did You Know? Did you know? All right. So, anybody who's bold out there, you can just put something in the chat once I ask these questions, because we want you to know that there are things that we must be aware of as we move forward in our growth, right? All right. So, it's not trivia, it's transformational. Okay. So, did you know? Did you know that distractions often reveal what you have not yet disciplined? Did you know that? If you knew that, put that in the chat. Give me a raised hand, or say, yeah, I knew it, or whatever you like to say. Did you know that distractions often reveal what you have not yet disciplined? Distraction is really about a lack of time, but it's about that lack of clarity. And so a lot of times when we're not clear on what we're trying to do, we don't have the discipline to actually do it. Right? We don't have the discipline to stay on the right path and to maintain the course, as they say. So when you're crystal clear about your assignment, you guard it a little bit differently, because you know that you don't want any distractions, anything to hinder what you are going forward and moving toward. All right. The distractions can also drain your focus. So you want to make sure that your focus is fueling the momentum. The focus is what keeps the momentum alive. So as you stay focused, you remain in connection with what it is that you are growing. You remain in connection with your plans and with your vision. And then that momentum will build the confidence that you need, right? We authors, we write books. We sit down, we write. We have to really, really maintain focus. If you're a writer, you have to maintain your focus. You have to be able to stay on track with what you're writing, because if you are not careful, you might end up writing the same thing over and over and over again, which is okay sometimes because you'll have to go back anyway and review the things that you are writing and then sort them to where they actually flow. But if you're not properly focused on what you're doing, you're going to end up just recycling the same thing over and over and over, right? Recycling, recycling, but never building anything. We know that now there's all types of recycling, but they take those items that they recycle and they build something with them. They don't just recycle them and then just put them back into the recycler and then just put them back in the recycler. No, they take them, they flatten them out, they sort them out, they clean them up, and then they build something else with it, right? So there is a process even in that recycling. And that momentum is where our confidence is built. So you want to turn that to destiny, right? If the distraction starts showing up, you got to ask yourself, where do I need structure? Ask yourself, where do I need structure? Because distraction equals undisciplined focus. And that's where you need to add some structure. All right. Ask yourself, anybody out there, you already thinking about some areas that you know you need to add some structure to? You have to think about these things because if you don't, as I said, it's just going to keep going over and over and over without. And what do we talk about? Many people have talked about this over and over, but we talked about it even on last week again. We know that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and trying to get different results. It's just not going to work. So that distraction plus the undisciplined focus is going to, it's going to cause you some backlog in what you're trying to do. So you got to add structure. You have to come to the place where you say to yourself, okay, I need a timeline. I need a plan. I need structure. I need a goal. I have to build something with some clarity. Okay. And that's not condemning yourself, but it's just correcting the course. You got to correct the course. You got to know where you're going and you've got to make sure that you stay on course. All right. So let's continue our game and welcome again to all those who are joining us, whether you're joining us live or you're catching the replay. We're glad to have you here. But let's continue. Question number 2. Did you know that comparison quietly kills clarity? Hmm. Now, this one right here is a tough one. And I know that I'm not by myself, but there's been times that, you look at what you're doing and you say, well, I put in the same effort that someone else put in, and I went to the same conference and I heard the same things they heard, and I took the same course, I took the same class. You know, I've been working on the same project. Huh. But guess what? You really haven't, because you don't know what someone else has done or even what their long term goal is. And their long term goal might not even be as long term as your goal. Maybe they just want to get a piece of fabric and make a napkin, and you want to make a whole tablecloth, right? So we cannot compare what we're doing to someone else, because that comparison will kill our clarity. But our clarity will build our confidence. So when you stop comparing yourself and what you're doing to someone else, I can go here by myself and I could say, even as I write a book or I have my show, if I go and I look at everybody else's, I'm in a group and they saying, oh, show me what you got going on, and we'll see if somebody wants to come. But what I have is not for everybody else. What I have is not for the same people as what someone else has for their show or what someone else is writing in their book. But there's a specific audience, there's a specific genre that is looking for what you have. And that's what you have to be mindful of. What is it that I have, that and who is it for? Not what someone else is doing and how to bring their audience to your audience. No, now there are some that will cross paths or maybe they will collaborate, but it's not for you to sit and compare what you're doing with what someone else is doing and how you can become like them or do what they're doing. There's going to always be something that stands out in what you do. There's going to always be something that is different in what you do, even if it's in the same structure or the same genre. Let's use that word again. Even if it's in the same category, there's going to be something different. And if it's not, there's no authenticity, right? So you want to make sure that you're not trying to compare what you're doing with what everyone else is doing, because that will kill the confidence that you need to have in order to build something great. Thank you so much, Metropolitan. So glad to have you on with me tonight. Thank you. Thank you. So let's go to just a few more pointers about this um, this comparison. Comparison. When you compare, you compete with timelines that were never even assigned to you, and you're trying to do what has been assigned to someone else, and that's never going to be a productive thing. So comparison can create imposter syndrome. It can also create hesitation and emotional exhaustion. But clarity, on the other hand, clarity will bring direction, it will bring the confidence, and it will bring the decisive movements that you need. So take that moment that you have, and instead of comparing, turn it to destiny. Instead of comparing, get curious and try to figure out what you can learn from what someone else is doing without losing your own identity and losing your own self. You can always learn something, but the important thing is not just to try to take everything that someone else is doing and try to reproduce it or try to emulate or whatever, but instead try to learn without losing your own identity. Okay, comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah, and I can see that because when you lose your confidence, you lose your joy, right? So we must not compare ourselves to others. And it has caused a lot of people a lot of delay because of the fact, I don't know what this little thing is in my hair. Because of the fact that they are trying to compare with what someone else is doing. And then they're trying to match moments, trying to match the momentum, trying to match everything that someone else is doing. And you're wasting time. You're wasting time. All right. So, again, the comparison kills clarity, but the clarity builds confidence. All right. So, here's what I want you to do. I want you to type in the chat distraction, or comparison? Which one has tried to come to your house lately? Which one has tried to distract you or to hinder you lately? Comparison or distraction? It, even if you don't type it in the chat, just think about it, because there's so many things that we waste time with without really focusing and realizing what's happening. And sometimes we need to sit back and we need to evaluate what's actually happening. All right. So um, our next thought is on delays. Let's talk about delays. We know the saying, delayed does not mean denied. A delay is not a denial. So let's go to number three. Did you know? We're still playing our Did You Know game. Did you know? All right. Did you know that delay develops depth? Delay develops depth. All right. Distraction is mostly the killer. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It will kill. It will even kill the moment while you're trying to, even in the middle of, a conversation or anything, just getting distracted. You lose thought. You lose traction. And you lose attention, right? Just think about it, how you're trying to do something and others are trying to engage and you get distracted. You lose your place, you lose your thought, you lose your attention, and then you lose your momentum. All right, so delay. Did you know that delay develops depth? So this kind of flips it around. Although it is something that can be a hindrance, but delay can also be a good thing. If everything happened right when we wanted it to, we wouldn't always be able to sustain it. We wouldn't always have the capacity needed to sustain it. So sometimes the delay is necessary for us, right? It seems like a hindrance and it can be a hindrance, but sometimes it's actually bringing us development and allowing us to become before we arrive, right? As I said on last week, um, one of the apostles was speaking and saying, we're so busy trying to do before we can even, and become before we can even um, learn or take the time to actually do some things to build us up. So delay builds skill, it builds stability, it builds emotional maturity. Ooh, and that's definitely needed. And sometimes it's preparation. So during that time of delay is where we find ourselves learning, we find ourselves building, we find ourselves gaining strength and gaining that consistency that is really needed, right? That structure, that discipline, all of those things can be happening in the midst of delay. Now, if you just have a delay and you're doing nothing while being delayed, yeah, the delay can also be another time that you are thank you. Delay can also be another time that you are causing yourself to actually uh, bring the vision to a slow halt, which we don't want to do, right? So instead, turn it to destiny and ask yourself, why is this taking so long? Who am I becoming in the process? Is there a reason that it's being held back a little bit? Is there something else I need to learn? Is there something else I need to grow inside of myself? Is there someone else that I need to become before I can actually arrive? Right? Because I don't need to show up as Metropolitan Archbishop. We already have a great Metropolitan Archbishop, Olive C. Brown. I don't need to show up as her, but I need to become who I'm supposed to be. So it may take me a little bit longer to get there, but that's what I need to do, not try to emulate and regenerate what someone else or who someone else is. All right, we're almost done. We're almost done. This is my last did you know? All right, did you know that perfectionism is procrastination dressed up in excellence? Whew, that's like a mouthful, right? Did you know that perfectionism is procrastination dressed up in excellence? Hmm, that's really a deep one. Perfectionism, it sounds like and that excellence, it sounds like a highly spiritual thing, right? Okay, it sounds real professional, but a lot of times it's fear of being seen before you feel ready. And so we don't want to step out because we're afraid we're not perfect. We're afraid we don't have everything exactly as it should be. We don't have all of our ducks in a row. We don't have the bling and the crown, and we don't have all the glory. So we're trying to get to perfectionism before we do anything. But you cannot move forward waiting for perfectionism. Every step counts, every moment counts, and every action counts, right? So you have to often say to yourself, where do I take this now? What do I do now to turn this to my destiny? From trying to be perfect and trying to do everything exactly as it should be, what should I do now? Getting it done is better than having it perfect. You can always go back and perfect some things, but get something done. You have to move. You have to be, as they say, you have to be in the game to win it, right? You can't win the game just sitting from the sideline waiting for them to say that you won. That's never going to happen. But you have to be in the game in order to win it. So you want to share it. You want to start before you feel fully prepared. Starting is important. And that's, one of the things that I talk to people about all the time. Getting started. It's a must. You can't sit and wait for something to happen without you actually putting the effort towards it. Action creates clarity. All right. So if you are ready, if you've been waiting for the perfect moment, put in the chat ready. It looks like Metropolitan's the only one typing, but that's okay. Thank you so much, Metropolitan Archbishop, for joining us and for keeping engaged with us. Yes, distraction is mostly the killer. Delay develops death. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're almost done. So now we want to just remind you that there are things that try to destroy our growth. So I said it was my last one, but I have one more. Did you know that self doubt grows in silence? So if you are doubting your own self, you're building a blockage. You're building a wall when you have self doubt. It is blocking your own growth, but it grows in silence. You don't even realize what's happening sometimes. and it's just speaking in your mind. It's just speaking in your mind, and you begin to just move away from the things that you should be doing. Self doubt will tell you, who do you think you are? You know, why do you think people want to listen to you? Why do you think people want to read your book? Why do you think people want to see what you have? Why do you think people are interested in you? Right? So you got to be careful with how you even speak to yourself, how you trust and believe in your own vision and your own dreams and your own goals. When you isolate, insecurity amplifies. So as we said, sometimes you go to conferences, sometimes you get with like-minded people, you get with others, uh, and don't isolate yourself. Keep yourself active. When you start saying and seeing that you are behind, don't don't compare to where someone else is on the Richter scale, on the ladder. That's not your spot. That's not your stance. Sometimes you say you're not qualified. Well, if God gave you the vision, you were already qualified. If he gave it to you, you were already qualified. Now it's your job to get it done, right? But the destiny will require a decision. Self doubt is blocking the progress. But your destiny, it just requires a decision. So now you need to turn that self doubt, you need to turn that uh, to destiny. Speak on what you're building. Surround yourself with those aligned voices and move anyway. Move even though you don't feel like you are perfect. Move even though you can't really see where the progress is. What we talked about in that cycle, the growth cycle, is that you planted it, you put it in the ground. You may not see a bud just yet, but just believe. Just believe. This is the faith coach, Dr. Olive Brown, the faith coach, who has been talking about we win. Just keep saying in your mind, I am a winner. Know that you already have won. God has given you the vision, and you have been qualified in advance to bring that vision to pass. So speak on it. Speak on what you're building. Surround yourself with those aligned voices and then just keep moving. Confidence is built by keeping commitments to yourself. No one else is going to commit to your vision, especially if you're not committed to it. All right. So I am going to close out because we can keep going with the did you knows. But I'm going to close out and I'm just going to tell you that the growth is not about acceleration, but it's about your alignment. We started this year off talking about alignment. And when you put all the ducks in a row that need to be in the row, right? They may not all be in a straight line. They may not all have, be standing up erect the way the way you think they should, but you just put it there and then begin to work through that process and see what will grow. It's going to grow. And if you water it, we talked about planting, we talked about protecting and progressing. And if you don't plant it, first of all, nothing is going to happen. If you don't protect what you've planted, you're going to lose that ground. You're going to lose that momentum. You're going to lose what you have sown. But if you protect it, if you water it, if you nurture it, if you feed it, then it will grow. And so distractions, delays, destroyers, none of them are stronger than discipline, development, and decision. So everything that tried to slow you down, it can strengthen you if you respond strategically. All right, so we're going from hindrance to destiny. Woo! From hindrance to destiny. That's where we're going. We are no longer going to allow even our own thoughts to hinder us, because a lot of times it's a mindset. It's in the mind. It's the things that we allow to fester in our thoughts and fester in our mind. This is our year of growth. This is our year of growth. So, we're going to share what we're doing. We're going to keep making sure that we save those things that we need to save, and invite others, to join in with us as we celebrate even what we're growing. And then I just want to tell you that growth is the evidence of movement. Growth is the evidence of movement. You cannot stay stagnant. You cannot just sit there and wait for something to happen. But where there's no growth, there's no development, there's no refinement, no expansion. But growth is the evidence of movement. All right. Listen, I believe my time is up. And so I am going to stop here. There's so many more things that I could say. It's not an optional thing. It's necessary to sustain us. We have to grow. You can't. Here's a my final point. If it's not growing, it's stuck. And if it's stuck, you just need to make a decision. You don't always have to make a movement. You just sometimes make a decision. I'm not going to allow it to stay stuck. I'm not going to lose this momentum. I'm not going to allow myself to doubt. I'm not going to make those decisions that are necessary so that you can move from hindrance to destiny. All right. Well, for real, that is my final word. That's my final word. I appreciate everyone who took the time to join us on today as we talked about our subject on today. This has been important for us to go through at this time. From distractions, delays, and destroyers to destiny is very important for us, even as we are still in the beginning in the first quarter of 2026. But what we do in the second, third, and fourth quarter is going to matter on how we set up the first quarter, how we move. And that's just not by year, but that is by whatever it is that we are doing. Everything has to have a beginning. There has to be uh, there has to be a process. Everything has to have a process, and the process requires growth, and growth is evidence of movement. All right, so I hope you enjoyed today. And for those of you who may have said, "Well, I got it, but I need to know more about this. I need to figure this out more, but I just got the words, but I need to be able to sit down and write some things out." Guess what? I've created the growth cycle. I've created this journal to help you to sit and to write your thoughts out so that you can set your pace, that you can set your process, and that you can grow the way you need to grow. And so, if you like to continue this reflection beyond today's episode, This journal is a companion to these conversations that we've been having. It's quiet, it's guided space to help you slow down, reflect honestly, and move forward with intention. And if that feels like something that would support you right now, you can find it right here. There is a QR code that you can snap a picture of. If you need to come back to this stream, you can also snap the picture and do that, or you can just go to my website or the page where you can purchase that is at www.vipcoachandconsult. I was looking for it. I had it somewhere. www.vipcoachandconsult and consult. VIP coach and consult dot VIP. There it is. There it is. That's talking about the visionary momentum, but that's also over there. You can pick that up as well. And that is our anthology where we've had 9 writers, and that will also help you to grow and get your plans together. All right. So we love hearing from you. Let me know how this has um, been a blessing to you. If it's been a blessing to you, let me know. Share it with someone else. Let someone else know about this show, and let's just continue to grow. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we look forward to seeing you all again on next week. Now, for the month of, and I forgot to bring my flyer with me, but I'll have a flyer out next week. But for the month of March, we will be celebrating. March is Women's International Women's Month. And so, March, we're going to be doing some special women's celebrations, and we have guests coming for the month of March. So, we want to make sure that you join us. I will be putting out the flyer with our guests so that you can see who's going to be here and make sure that you're in the lounge with us in March. Every Monday in March at 6:30 p.m. We've got great guests already lined up, and we're ready. I'm telling you, we've got some things that you've never even heard here in the lounge before. So you want to make sure you're here. All right. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, you can also reach out to us and let me know. You can just reach out to me at um, VIP coach and consult. And that's just with the letter N, VIP coach and consult. And we'll be glad to chat with you. I think there was also a QR code. Let me go back to this page over here. There's a QR code there where you can hit that and you can book a call with us, or you can sign up to be a part of my show with that same QR code. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. We'll see you next week. Bye.